Hi there, it's Dr. Gianna Reams. It's been a kind of a busy beginning of the semester, and the rest of the semester is going to be as well. So I think I'm going to do a shorter video, and there may be some more coming. Then I probably won't do them all one a week. And I think I'm going to go a little into the philosophical realm, if you will, and talk some about not so much specific things in Alexander's life or this or that or Macedonia, so much as to talk a little bit about the importance, to my mind, of being aware of dichotomies and of holding these dichotomies sometimes in tension in the study of history, or in other words, don't cancel history when things bother you. Okay, and this, if you spend any time at all reading about Alexander the Great, you're going to run up against the dichotomy in his reputation. Okay, and it can be very extreme, where you have he's the great conqueror, or he's this ruthless butcher. And both of those, they're not mutually exclusive, actually. But sometimes they're placed that way. Or another way of thinking about it is, oh, he was amazing, he did all of this stuff. Or oh, he really wasn't all that. It was luck and daddy's army. And I kind of alluded to this in the prior video about Hippolytus' own skills. Okay. I don't belong to that group. I don't see how luck and daddy's army is going to sustain a 10-year campaign, 12 if you count the two before he entered Asia. So no, I think that Alexander was an extraordinary individual, okay, in history. Whether or not he was the best ever, that's opinion, but he's definitely up there. He is the one being emulated by folks later. And while today, if you were to go out onto the street anywhere in the U.S., you're probably going to get better name recognition, say, for Julius Caesar than you would for Alexander. But remember, who did Julius Caesar want to be? He wanted to be Alexander. And part of it was this allure. And again, Alexander's reputation also went up and down in the Roman Empire. I've mentioned this in the past. But part of his allure was extraordinary achievement at extraordinarily young age. Okay? The live fast, die young, and leave a pretty corpse. So all of those things are kind of true. Okay? And we don't have to try to knock him down a peg. And where I think some of that comes in, other than the natural tendency to when somebody is successful that other people then try to go at them, is that you can be amazed by somebody and not want to have anything to do with them. And you can be astonished by achievements without necessarily thinking they're things that you want to emulate. Okay. Certainly not in the modern world. When I teach my world history class, one of the points I make in one of the earliest lectures is that I want students to understand the past. I want them to understand why people do the things they do. That doesn't mean they have to approve of it. And I think that point is occasionally missed. That if I say I understand it, then you approve it. And this is a part of common parlance. If somebody's telling you their woes and you say, oh, I understand, that's usually you're showing sympathy, you're showing empathy with them, you're on their side. No, that's not what this means at all. And I think that we, again, can recognize this astonishing accomplishment without encouraging people that going out and taking over the world is something that you want to do. We don't want to encourage wannabe dictators to use Alexander as a model. Okay. His world isn't ours, and that's very important. He lived 2,300 years ago. That's a long gap. Alexander fought battles like Gaugamela that are still taught in military academies today because he was that good. But those battles, that war, that 10-year campaign, killed millions of people, either directly or indirectly. Not directly, but sometimes indirectly, certainly. He sometimes butchered entire populations, like the Branchidai, certainly in India. It was just a bloody swathe down the Indus River. And that can be true even while his achievements are still astonishing. Slavery became so massive from Alexander's campaigns that the value of slaves back in Greece was just plummeted. The bottom fell out because there were so many. It glutted the market. Think about that a minute. This is a world where slavery is, slaves had slaves sometimes, certainly later in Rome. You can say that and still say that, yes, slavery isn't something we want to emulate either, It didn't bother them necessarily, not in the same way that it should bother us. So to hold these things in tension is the demand that history, and doing particularly ancient history, has on us, studying history at any point. And how to do that. We must do it. You can't just say, oh, I don't like that. That's bad. We shouldn't do that. Therefore, we shouldn't study it. No, maybe we should. Okay. So that's the little bit of philosophy I wanted to toss out, that you can be amazed by Alexander's achievement. You can really recognize that what he did is almost unfathomable, and it wasn't done later. The Romans wanted to try. And you can still be appalled by it. Okay. It's possible to do two things at once. So we'll end there, and as I said, I'll think of some other things to do later, but it's been a kind of a busy month, so don't expect to see a lot from me.